One. Between the Lanes, episode 19. We back. We've been bringing the heat all summer, and the fire continues. Let's introduce our co-host first. We got Clayton Lakatos, all state of Edwardsville High School. He's in college now, SIU, right?
Yes, sir.
That's football man. Who's that?
Yup.
Brandon Battle, another Edwardsville Tiger. Three-time state champion, won the Triple Crown 2021. Now he big time on us. He went to college, University of Arkansas, assistant coach. What's up, man?
Man, not much. Just happy to be back, see my people, you know what I'm
All right,
saying?
all right,
Yeah.
all right. And here's our guest, five-time state championship coach, three at Edwardsville, two at Herrin. I believe he's the only coach in Illinois history to win a big class and a small class team title. We'll get into that. But there he is, folks, the head coach of Edwardsville Tigers, Chad Lakatos. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's get right into it. We'll start here. Two-part question. Or comments, however you want to see it. Can you kind of give us a quick reflection on the 2026 season for your Tigers and tell us how, after a long season, how do you decompress and relax once the season's over?
Yeah, it's a good question. 2026 was definitely a different season for us. We came off losing 22 seniors, I believe, which was the largest senior class that I've had at Edwardsville. And so we knew we had a lot of pieces gone, right? But we knew we had some things coming back with our pole vaulter Parker and Stukenberg, our thrower. So we're just going to build around that. We had a great season. If you'd have told me at the beginning that these are the things that we're going to do and we're actually going to check the boxes on all of them, I don't think I would have agreed with him. We won several invitationals. We won conference. We finished second at sectionals. Qualified, 10 events to the state meet. I was hoping to do a little bit better, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. That, as you know, the state meet can be cruel to you at times.
Mhm.
But we did get a state champion. Parker Owens won the 3A state championship in pole vault. And then, Gavin wanted to finish better in the shot put. If he had thrown his best, he would have maybe finished and scored more points. But we finished with 12 as a team points. And so just a different feel. I reflect back on the 17-18 season and, 18-19 season. And Brandon, I think you were freshman, maybe sophomore around that time. And, it just one of those years where it just is tough. And, but still we accomplished a lot. And we're just going to continue to build with what we have. I think, and when you've done it long enough, you see peaks and valleys, and we're definitely, as far as the talent pool, you see it in football. Our basketball program's done well, but football and track go hand in hand, in my opinion. And so we're just gonna keep coaching the kids we got, and hopefully we can continue to build from there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a lot going on in the Illinois world. These past 2 years have been crazy, and we'll touch on a little bit later. Obviously, I've mentioned your success to open the show, five team titles, a bunch of runner-ups, things like that, coaches of the year, and you're probably on a fast track to the Hall of Fame in a few years, maybe this year. But all that stuff started from somewhere, and we're going to use this opportunity to, for those who don't know you or know of you or your program, to get to know you. Let's dive into it. We got a family member here, of course, and a former athlete. We gonna triple team you real quick for this next hour
All
or
right, all right.
so. Hopefully they do their job, guys. Don't let me down. So as far as the background, can you give us a background on where you from? Kind of how growing up for you was.
Yeah, so moved around a little bit. My dad was in the medical field. Spent some time in Murfreesboro, and then circled back to went north for a couple of years and circled back down south and landed at Harrisburg. And I was fortunate to have some Hall of Fame coaches there, with Tony Holler being one of them. He was my freshman football coach, head track coach. He was actually my varsity basketball coach until he was released my sophomore year. And had another Hall of Fame coach, Al Way. He was my football coach, and Jay Thompson was another Hall of Fame coach. He's baseball coach there. But so just surrounded by some, uh, great coaches that showed me the way, and proceeding from there, I went to college, Carbondale, graduated there. I was student teaching in 98, 99, and I got a job at the middle school at Herrin, and they asked me to coach. At the time, I wasn't for sure if that's what I wanted to do, but I volunteered at the Carterville on the football staff, and then was kind of balancing between cross country. I coached girls basketball. And I was the assistant track coach there for 3 years before I took the head job. I think 03, 04 is when I took over the head job at Herrin.
Man, those 1A schools, you have like 5 hats, though. I swear. So 5 hats. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I was jam packed with just anything that came open, they'd ask. And of course, when you're young, you're going to jump on and yeah. So that's kind of how things started and kicked off for me. As far as
Nice.
the past.
It's also I was learning a lot more about you just right there. I didn't even. That's crazy. Like how decorative a coach you are. So like just speaking of like all the sports you coached at and it's played growing up. So like how'd you get started in sports? Like any like youth experiences growing up. Like how'd you get started in sports and everything?
Yeah, back in the day, we didn't have the technology that you guys have. I just told Clayton the other day. I said I don't think my first cell phone was till I was like 22. So just as kids, we spent a lot of time outside playing. Uh, Baseball probably was my first passion, and my dad always loved basketball, so I spent a lot of time in the parks playing basketball, hooping it up with. We just spent all day out there, I'd just ride my bike, go play basketball. And my first time getting an opportunity to run track was in 7th grade in Gibson City. I think it's a combined school now. I don't know, but Gibson City, 7th grade. I remember qualifying for state, made high jump in the 200. I also ran hurdles. And so I just always competing. My dad was a super competitive person, Vietnam veteran. So just always like to compete. And so that just came out. It was just natural for me to play as many things as I could growing up.
Yeah, we miss those days, kids. There's a lot of specializing, and I'll touch on that as well. I know you coach football at Edwardsville, so um, Herrin, you mentioned Herrin. Eventually, you took the head coaching job at Herrin, as you mentioned. Um, Tell me about those first couple years as head coach as track. I know you've told your story. Hold on, let me take a step back because I don't want you to skip over your high school success at Harrisburg. Can you kind of give us let us know what your success was like at the state level at Harrisburg?
Yeah, so I would consider myself an average athlete. Um, I was very catty. Uh, I like to argue. Probably wasn't a very fun kid to coach, but I played all 3 sports. Football. That's what we did at a small school. You play
Mm,
football, or whatever, cross country. But I played football. Transitioned to basketball, and then of course it was baseball or track, and I did both my freshman year. But just decided that track was more fun. Just like the freedom of track meets, and so yeah, I did all 3 of those 4 years. I was all state. And the 400, my junior year, I got second. And then my 4x4 team got disqualified my senior year. but then 4x1 placed, and I think third. There we go. Then
Y'all
my
don't want no
senior
smoke with them. Don't even try it, Clayton. You want no smoke. Don't even try it.
my senior year, I got third in the 400, and I think my best time was 48.2 or something. I mean, it wasn't great, but for the way we were trained, I think it was pretty good for those days. Football, we would made it to the semifinals. That's when they were 6 class system, so we got bumped 4A. We had to play Bloomington in the semifinals. I remember driving up, and it was a cold day, and we got pounded by them. Basketball was rough. I think I won a total of 6 games in high school, so we got our ass kicked a lot. Excuse my language.
That's a donkey. We good.
Yeah, so that's my Harrisburg run there.
Yeah, I believe you got a trophy. Was it third place? You can say the year if you want to. I don't want to
Yeah,
age people.
1991, we got third, and it was not due to me. It was due to the guy that was holding it there, Brandon Shelton. He's an attorney now and just an absolute stud. He won the 300 hurdles. I believe it might have been the first year that they had that as a state event,
Mm.
1991, or maybe second year. He got second in the high jump, and which was unique about Brandon because he had PR'd at sectionals going 6'3", and then at state he got second. He went 6'10". So
Mm.
crazy things can happen at state.
Sure
But
can.
yeah, third place. It was exciting to raise that trophy with just those guys there.
Man, they need to bring those trophies back.
Right?
I miss those trophies.
I know.
The grass can stay away, but we need those trophies back. Somebody's watching. Somebody's watching. We'll transition to Herrin, small school in the southern tip of Illinois, near Carbondale. Uh, you mentioned you had a lot of hats or positions at Herrin, but let's focus on the track position. What were some of the earlier challenges for you when you took over that program, leading that program, and if there was a turnaround, how long did it take you for that turnaround to happen?
So I was assistant, as I said, for 3 years. I was coaching the kids the way I was coached, the way Tony coached us, Coach Holler, which was old school.
Mm.
10x400s was our workouts. And so as an assistant, I adopted that, and I was beating my head against the wall. Kids hated it. I was averaging 10 to 15 sprinters a year during as being an assistant, uh, knowing that I was going to be. So my first year I was going to be a head coach. Eric Thompson won state in the high jump. He went 6'5" in 8th grade. So I gave him a
Sick.
call. Yeah, it's crazy. I gave him a call. I said, "Hey, congrats. I'm going to be your head coach next year." And so that's when we started feeding the cats, is that very next year. And we went from 10 to 15 kids to, 30, 40. And then it got eventually 50 kids out when we started changing up what we did. So it took 2 years is from me being a head coach. I think my first year, we didn't do much damage, but then Eric won the high jump. The next 3 years, we got fifth. My second year as a head coach, then we got third in my third year. And then, of course, my fourth and fifth year, we went back-to-back state champs. Yeah,
Mm.
that's Tommy Taylor there.
Tommy Taylor.
He was won the 100-meter dash. He was a badass. And yeah, he was my guy. We kept using as, I remember his senior year saying, "Hey, can we do this without Eric?" Because Eric, the previous year in 2007, he won 5 gold medals. He won the high, long, triple, anchored our 4x1, of course, the team state championship. So our goal the next year, which was 2007, 2008, was, can we do it without Eric? And Tommy was
Mm.
our big dog that year.
Yeah, you mentioned Eric Thompson. I believe he went to Arkansas too, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Thompson, yeah, won a triple crown.
Yep.
Yeah, so you actually a coach of first. We mentioned winning a big and small school title, and you probably the only coach to coach two Triple Crown winners. Of course, one in the sprints and one winning the Triple Crown of jump. So another first you can put on your resume.
There you go.
There it is. What you got for us, Clay?
Uh, yeah, I had a question about like who your mentors were when you were coming up as a coach, and not only that, but what coaches you follow nowadays when you're already up in the ranks.
Yeah. So, obviously the high school that I came from, we had several Hall of Fame coaches that I remember Alway telling me, he was my football coach. He said that if you ever get into coaching, make sure you surround yourself with good coaches, because it's very easy to adopt bad habits from
Mm,
bad coaches. And so I held on to that when I was, 16, 17. I kind of had an idea I wanted to be a teacher and coach. Of course, Tony Holler was early on. Um, Leroy Millsap, when I was at Herrin, I was watching his teams just dominate at Cahokia, and I wanted to do handoffs just like his team. So Tony Holler and I drove up to Cahokia one summer, and we watched him do hurdle practice, triple jump, handoffs. So we got a lot of cues from him, and carried those with us early on. And then Dick Booth actually recruited Eric Thompson, so I spent a lot of time talking to Dick Booth his junior and senior year when he was the jumps coach at Arkansas. Um, right now, I still follow Tony. He's still a big advocate, mentor for me. Chris Corfus, Brian Kula, uh, Les Spellman out in California, and then Stu McMillan. Those are the guys that I follow on the socials, and try to grab little nuggets from them and try to fit them into our program.
yeah, that's right. Those some big names. Actually, let me ask you this. I've seen you at Feed the Cats clinics. Have you done any other clinics? Been a clinician at any other track and field clinics?
Are you mean spoke at
Oh, yeah,
any?
spoke at clinics. Yes.
Yeah, I spoke at an Iowa clinic. I spoke at Bureau Valley several times. We used to have an ICA South, and
Mm.
before that faded, I spoke there a couple times, and then I spoke at ICA North a few times.
Yeah, that was confusing when they had the North and the South. I'm like, dude, what? I didn't know it was the South. Like,
Yeah.
everybody come on up. Let's go. You have some success at Herrin. Typically, when one have success, they kind of want to, have that sustained success and not leave. But you left. You went to a bigger school. Just talking to some small school coaches now. I said, hey, you ever thought about going to coach at Bloomington High School? It's like, no, well, that's too big of a school. But you made the jump. I don't know what the enrollment of Herrin was, but I'm positive it was nowhere near Edwardsville. So how hard or easy was that decision to leave Herrin to go to a bigger program? And what was the transition like going from small school to big school?
Um, yeah, so I think our enrollment was 600 or somewhere around there. We were a two-class system at that time. And, after the success that we had, I wanted more of a challenge. I had heard rumors that they were going to go to a three-class system, and we were going to be stuck in the middle, which that's where they're at. I knew we were going to be stuck with, Cahokia, teams like Cahokia and East St. Louis. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to go somewhere bigger where I can maybe take what I've done here and, you know, just take it to a bigger school and see if it worked. And it did. It took a couple years, but I basically implemented exactly what we were doing at Herrin, and to feed the cats, and it quickly lit fire, and the rest is history. So as far as the challenges, yeah, it was tough. It was, my head was spinning. There was, I went from one assistant principal to five, uh, two counselors to six, um, 600 kids to 2,400, 50 total kids on the team to sometimes 90 to 100. So yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but that's when I knew that I needed to get a staff that I could trust. And when I was at Herrin, I coached the jumps, long and triple. I did not coach Eric in the high jump. I had a high jump coach. I coached the distance guys. I coached the hurdlers. It's, like I said, at smaller school, you got to do it all.
Hmm.
So Dr. Hightower was our superintendent at the time, and he basically uh, he reached out to me, wanted to change the program. Edwardsville at the time was very, let's say, vanilla distance program. There wasn't much speed. Our records were not good when I came here, and so he wanted to change the face of our track program, and so he reached out, and I accepted, and here we are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Edwardsville. I've never even heard of Edwardsville. I'm not even gonna pretend I did. I actually found out in 2015. That was a great year, by the way. I know for you, I think you won a title that year. But
We did.
yeah, I think we came to the Winston Brown, and I'm like, I want to bring my wind gauge, and you told me no over email. Then I reached out to the big dog, Tony Holler. He reached out to Alec. I think he reached out to you. I was like, I did bring his gauge. He's like, just bring it. Who cares? I was like, bet.
Yeah,
So I was like,
that was
good.
my that was my old school, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, good. I'll come to this
Surfacing.
meet. Everybody told me no. So I was like, good. We'll come to Winston Brown every year because they told me yes. I've never been in Chicago. Um, Edwardsville, for those who don't know, um, about the community, can you guys kind of tell us about the community? All three of you all lived there, went to school there at one point. Tell us about the community, the love for athletics, and then I guess the from your as far as your track and field team, what is the makeup? Is it like football players, basketball? How do you make up that team?
Who wants to start? Brandon, you want to go?
Man, I'm like 5 years removed, but
Don't matter. Hey, us north of I-80 don't have a clue. Well, I do, but everybody else like Edwardsville. Where's
yeah,
that?
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like the fans and the support systems from the alumni and this community. It's like second to none. I mean, it's a big like just everyone loves like Edwardsville Tigers athletics, whether it's football, track, basketball. They're always gonna support you no matter what. I mean, shoot. I mean, it's got a brand new track. I mean, and you know what I'm saying, like just things of that nature. And of course, good things happen when you leave. You know what I'm saying, get new uniforms, new track and stuff.
uh,
But it's cool
I'm
seeing
hating.
everything, you know what I'm saying, especially as alumni. But I mean, the makeup as far as the team, I know when I was still running there, it was mainly a lot of football players. I'll probably say like 85% of the team was football. There were some guys like me. I mean, I ran cross country, I did last 2 years, but really didn't really run for real. But you got those cross guys who do distance, for track, of course, and then there's very few guys who don't do sports like or like one sport athlete at all. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of
Hmm.
multi-sport athletes, whereas football and track, basketball and track, or just track only. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
Yeah, the makeup of the teams I was a part of, mostly football. There was only a couple basketball guys, like pretty much only Yosei and Devion and Malik. That's all I could think of. And then um, the cross kids usually just ran cross and the long distance. But yeah, it was mostly football, like all pretty much except Zach Lane. He was pretty much the only one that did track. I think that
Hmm.
was like on our relays. Darren even played football. Sincere even played football. But yeah, the community, it's great. I mean, for me, I played football. I mean, the fans are great. All the parents come out. Like everybody cares like about all the sports too. Like everybody makes it an effort to like be there and like talk about it, and it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, comparing, when I came from Herrin, it was an Italian town. I think population 9, 10,000. I came here, it was, I had to, not that I had to watch my P's and Q's, but there's more politics here. Great community. When you drive through Edwardsville, it's got everything that you'd want. The school district, I remember my first year here, I was a little intimidated. The building was so big and I wasn't for sure where everything was located, but it eventually became home, and just our administration's great. Our school district, our school board has been fantastic. It's extremely supportive of athletics. We've every sport has just great coaches that work their tails off, and we're all wanting to win that state championship. And a lot of them are good friends of mine, and just it was a great move for me to transition to Edwardsville. I mean, Herrin was a great town too. We're both Tigers, and
Hmm.
but it's just a great community to raise your kids and put them through the school district.
That's right. It's definitely a nice town. I believe it's like 30 minutes or so from St. Louis. The Metro
Correct.
East area is what we call it. I like the AD too. I met her at the state meet, Miss Amy, I believe.
Amy Boscolo,
Yes,
yes.
she assured me that if y'all have a badminton team, I'm the first person she's going to call. I will be at Edwardsville, and we got Coach Howard coming on the show too. So
Yep.
she been ducking and dodging me. She gave me a soft commitment. I know you're going to watch this, Coach Desiree. Stop playing with me. We'll get you.
Well, she's
Um,
she's due soon, so she's probably pretty.
yeah, she's
We may
delaying.
have to hold out for that baby.
She out there coaching club track. She got time for me.
Yep, yep.
Um, your staff. Here's another thing for you all. I swear you got all these first. I believe your program has won a title in every discipline on the track, distance throws, etc. Is that correct?
It's pretty close. I think we're lacking.
What you missing?
I don't think I mean, as far as our program, yeah, we had a state champion pole vault. I don't think our program has
Distance.
a 4x8. I don't think that we had a 1600 or 800.
So
I think
I was more so
We had
talking like
16.
distance. Yeah, distance.
oh
I was
yeah,
more so talking
16.
like distance throws, sprints,
Yeah, yeah,
vault,
yeah.
jumps. Yeah, yeah.
You're
So I
right.
think yeah,
We've
yes,
covered not all 18 events, but we're getting close. But yeah,
yeah,
we've covered all the specialties, and yeah, so we've been pretty blessed with some talent.
yeah. Yeah, you got a good coaching staff too.
Yep.
My guy Gary, I'm gonna shout him out a little bit later in the show. See if you can take some bait because he didn't. But let's go back to that 2015 year. I believe your first title, as you mentioned, big class title. Uh, if I remember correctly, that 2015 year was crazy. Obviously, your team was one of the elite teams in the state. In the area, Cahokia in your backyard was an elite team in the state, and that number one, that whole Metro East and Southwest Conference was on fire. Heck, that's why we came down. I said, dude, why are we competing in Chicago? Let's go down there and get whooped by them. But can you tell us the lead up to that first title? How the team was built, maybe some of the conversations that was going on amongst the staff, and when did you realize that, hey, we can bring this thing home?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that 2015 team was just a true team. I mean, we had Travis Anderson, we
Hmm.
had AJ Epinesa, Wes Schoenthal, uh, we had Fontes in the long jump, we had relays. I mean, we were checking the box on, so many events. And that's what made that year so special because, a lot of times there's one stud that can score big points and, you get one other event and you can get on the podium. But
Hmm.
this was a team that just, we knew early on that we had the names, we had the pieces when we were young. A lot of those names I mentioned were sophomores at the time.
Yep.
But yeah, so you just kind of knew, and it's kind of like our girls team this year. They're going into every meet just blowing everybody away, and you're not even really meaning to. It's just you're so good and you have so much depth. But man, that was pretty special. When you win a state championship, you some coaches never get that opportunity, but then you never know what's going to happen again. And obviously that was my goal coming up here is I wanted to do it at the big school, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. But with the names that I mentioned, and of course I know I'm missing some, but you just kind of had that feeling. Alec and I would talk. We're like, man, we're pretty good, and it's just can you put it together at the state meet, and that's what it boils down to. And we had a great prelim, and just carried over into the finals, and we raised the first boys track and field state championship in 2015 at Edwardsville High School, and it's just such a great feeling for myself, the kids, and our coaching staff.
That's right. I believe that actually was my first Miles with assignment. He's like, hey, dude, go interview the champion. I was like, bro, it's a driving rainstorm. I'm trying to get
I
to the car.
remember.
I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Tony Jones, by the way. I'm like, dude, I don't know any of these people. I said, but thank goodness I went to the Winston Brown. I know of Edwardsville, but I'm like, dude, it's raining. I got on flip flops, but yeah, that was a great state meet. I think it was a lot of records fail, all time records. We talking about.
Yeah.
Um, you there's obviously a bunch of training methods out there that any coach can choose, but you obviously choose feed the cats. Can you give those who not familiar with feed the cats or your trainer style a peek into your training? Why did you choose? I know you gave us a preview earlier. And with that, do you consider yourself an old school or a new school coach?
Yeah, so Feed the Cats. I remember going to see Tony Holler, and he spoke at a clinic at Bureau Valley, and he was talking about Feed the Cats, and he had this VHS tape that I bought and actually ran out, but he mailed it to me. And I just dove in. I couldn't believe, because I remembered his training philosophy, and it just was completely different. So it's, Feed the Cats is a quality over quantity approach. It's big on record, rank, and publish. Uh, you really put the kids first. And my approach is max speed. We've spent a lot of time in that true speed area. With that, we accelerate, a lot of acceleration, and then we venture into some speed capacity and then some lactate. But we let a lot of the meets take care of that speed capacity and lactate workouts. Our season, I feel like, it's a long season, but when you dice it up, you don't have a ton of time to, we're getting kids coming off basketball, and maybe kids that are doing football and then transition in February, or maybe even some wrestlers coming in March. So you only got this short window of time to get kids where they need to be. And, we've been blessed with some great athletes like these two, Brandon and Clayton. You knew early on that those two were going to be special. They loved it. And so our training philosophy is just the quality over quantity approach. And our practices, sometimes kids get done, and there he is, three-peat,
Oh
baby.
my gosh.
Yeah, remember that picture?
Yeah, I do. That was in the
Classic.
two. Yeah.
Triple
Yeah.
Yeah.
crown.
Oh yeah. Man, I was
Yep.
so tired too. I was so tired going that race. I thought I was about to cramp up.
Yeah,
I was cramping
that
walking to the start line. I ain't gonna lie.
that was a new unique year, because we just had finals on the one day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brutal.
We didn't have prelims, but yeah, so I put kids first. Our practices are short and sweet, 30, 45 minutes. We get in and out, and rest and recovery is a huge part of what we do. And we never practice 5 days a week. We give holidays off. When spring break comes, if kids take vacation, so be it. But I don't want to say laid back, loosey goosey, but the kids, I believe, enjoy the atmosphere and the culture that we've developed over the years. Um, the second part of the question was old school versus new school. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. When I coached football, I felt like it brought out the old school in me. The yelling and the screaming and the things that you feel like football coaches got to do. But the
Mm.
one thing I loved about track was the connection with the athletes. So I feel like I'm a hybrid. That's kind of weird to even say, but there's times where I want to do more, but I think getting a healthier athlete is much better than, anybody can get an athlete tired, but keeping them
Yep.
healthy. And our main goal is getting the kids to the end. And with all the special kids that we've had, the talented, the elite level, they're not elite because of me. They're elite because they're just talented. It's God given. I just can't screw it up. So that was my goal with all our super talented kids, is, just don't screw them up. So I think I'm probably more of a new school guy. I don't have that Clyde, uh, you
Quite hard.
know, the Clyde Hart
Yeah.
mentality. God bless his soul. Rest in peace. But I build myself around that max speed and feel like I'm more of a new school coach.
Yeah, that's right. It's and it's paid off. I believe at one point, well, actually up until this year, you all had the state record in the 110 hurdles. The 4x1 had the record at some point during your tenure. That clear's got obliterated. These kids are getting fast. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so your team's been in the mix. I think it was maybe I believe it was the year you all tied with Oak Park 2 years ago. I think when I came to Belleville, everybody was on the sideline hurt. I think everybody was banged up, and I'm like,
I
dude,
did, yeah, I didn't run in that
yeah.
meet.
I'm like, how did y'all just win this meet with all these stars on the sidelines? I'm like, man, they got something going on. I know I do the rankings, and some of you guys be like, hey, why is Edwardsville run number 10 or not ranked? It's like, guys, relax. I was like, it's April. It's April. We know how this is gonna go. So I think it's just more so towards the culture of that you have with your teams. That I know, hey, I'll put you at 10 now, but I always put in my write up, hey, look out for Edwardsville or whomever. See them at the end. So and again, as I mentioned, you all did win the title that year, 2024, and that was a crazy year too. Shoot, it's getting crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. We did have a lot of injuries, and the things, the roller coaster rides that you go through, and the stories, just you just chuckle now. But yeah, it was a tough year, and I thought we were be able to make some noise 2025, and
Should've, we
Yosei,
should've.
yeah, Yosei not getting in the disc really hurt us, but
Mm,
we had some injuries. But yeah, it's the injury bug again. That's what you're, as a coach, you're trying to avoid, and sometimes you just can't.
yeah, that's a whew, peaks and valleys of track and field, late season.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, it's craziness. What you got for us, Clay?
Um, so what are some of the challenges with coaching, me and Cruz, your kids, like us being coaches' kids, it's got to be a little different. What are the positives, the pros, the cons, if there's any, and advice you give to other coaches doing the same thing?
It's a good question, Clayton. Oh, there we go. There's my boys. That was the one and only year they got to run together.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it definitely gave me a boost of energy having, Clayton, and then the one year with Clayton and Cruz. It was a dream come true. You never know raising kids if they're going to want to run for you, or even, what the picture is going to look like years down the road. Um, I think some key points for me was to always hold the same standard for for you and Cruz as everybody else. That was, there we go. That's a good pick. I didn't want to ever show favorites to Clayton being on the team, and Cruz. I didn't want, even though Clayton was one of our faster guys at the time. I was the coach at practice. Coached him hard, maybe too critical, and then tried to be dad everywhere else. I think that's important. Um, the timeline is faster than you think. Just embrace it, cherish it, soak it all in. I mean, it goes by fast, but man, just another important thing I think is just to let some of the other coaches invest into the kids, and don't feel like you need to, you know, hog them for your events. Like we try to have Clayton hurdle. I wanted him to be a hurdler his freshman, sophomore, and Alec was super excited about that. And I think he still could have been a good one. But coming into his junior year, there's some injuries that we avoided that. But let other coaches, experiment with him. My younger son now is a hurdler, so I don't really spend a ton of time with him other than max speed days. And then, I guess the biggest thing for me is for Cruz now, since he's in, try not to ever compare him to Clayton. I think that's important because
Mm,
they're both different. So yeah, it's just a joy to be able to coach both of them.
yeah, that's right. You came first before Jalen, Rick Brunson. It was Chad and Clayton hoisting up that title. There it is,
Facts.
hosted that title.
Facts.
Y'all was first.
Hey,
Stop playing with them. Yeah, there's Cruz. He's our trivia ace, by the way. I think I got him on a mouse, but trivia.
There you
We
go.
got to bring that back. Um, so speaking of coaching, as I mentioned, your program has had success, a lot of success during your tenure. With that, you've had some elite. state level and national caliber athletes, including two on the screen. Uh, can you tell us the pressures of coaching athletes of that caliber? And within that, can you kind of speak on that 2021 year with Brandon coming off COVID and, you know, how that kind of shaped up leading towards this triple crown as well?
Yeah, I think my first athlete, Eric Thompson, rest in peace. He's no longer with us, but when you have a 7-2 high jumper, he goes 7-2, and in high school, I remember him going 7-2 at Eastern, and Coach Holler called me. He's like, "That's like hitting a grand slam in the World Series. Somebody going 7-2. Anytime you hit that number is big." And Eric definitely was different than the kids like AJ. Of course, I didn't have AJ. Coach Martin coached him in the throws,
Mhm.
so that was a little bit different. Of course, then Travis Anderson was, up
Mhm.
there, and then Brandon Battle. It's like I said just not too long ago. The biggest thing is these kids all had God given talent. Brandon probably of all of them, well, not probably, he had the best work ethic of them all. I remember that year of him going to run his senior year, and it snowed. Track season we knew was going to be pushed back, and he was shoveling lane one so he
Mm.
could do a workout. We couldn't have communication with the kids, or we couldn't work them out. It was like we had to keep our distance. And the biggest thing is just understand these kids are talented. Don't try to do too much. I never tried to load our kids in 3 or 4 events, getting greedy. I knew
Mhm.
I knew that the cream would rise to the top at the end, and so our focus was always state. We could load them up at state, and then that way they could go for whatever it was at the end. Coaching Brandon at the end, and that year it was. I remember I remember mapping out his season, early on. And I said, okay, these are the events that I'm thinking. And, we had a lot of conversations. I think it's important to communicate with your kids, especially, kids of that caliber. They know. They know when they feel good, and they know when they're just not right. I remember going into one of the meets, and we had maybe, I don't know, the 1-4 or whatever it was planned for Brandon. He's like, coach, I'm just not feeling right. I'm like, all right, we'll pull you. And he's like, oh, coach, I'm like, hey, this invite is not important. What's important is the end of the season. So I think communication with your kids, whether they're elite or not, I think that you got to listen to them. You have to constantly watch them, and it should be a conversation between the two. I remember having a conversation with another kid. He qualified for the 8 and 16. It's like, okay, let's talk about this. I think those are coaches just shouldn't just say this is the way it's going to be, or it's the highway. I think you need to listen to kids, and just have their input. Because they know what they want, and they know what they can handle. And Brandon did just that. I remember him winning the 100 from lane one, and he knew
Yeah,
he knew he won, and I didn't. I was at
we
the end.
didn't. We didn't.
They turned it around, and
We didn't.
and I'm like, he's got it now. Like, that was the one race that I knew that might be a little bit of a struggle, especially from lane one. And not to mention the 4x1 probably would have won that year, but we got disqualified at sectional. But
Mm.
we won't talk too much about that, because that was probably a trophy team taken away. But
Yeah.
Brandon just, again, it wasn't what I did for Brandon. It was his work ethic, and he's one of the greatest kids that I've coached, and it was just a joy, and just to see the success that he's had at Arkansas, and now, a coach at Arkansas. It was just a great honor to be able to coach somebody of that caliber.
Oh, yeah, that means a lot. Appreciate it. That really means a lot, though. I mean, just like my time there has been amazing. Like you said, I mean, the teams I had like my first 2 years, like freshman, sophomore year, wasn't the best team, even like just the people around surrounding me and everything. We had a lot of people had their ups and downs, what I'm saying? It wasn't like the best team, it was a little toxicity, of course, just from the guys. But I mean, junior year, like you said, I think that was gonna be a good year for us. I mean, we had a lot of young guys who were really talented, especially on the distance side. Like Watts was getting his groove. You know, Gio was getting his groove. I remember I was still a junior, so I was still pretty young. Then senior year, I mean, there was a lot of challenges. You know, I didn't have a true indoor season.
Hmm.
I had to do a lot of stuff on my own, like um, and like I said that comes from like the workouts that Coach Akazu like I did within the last 3 years. You know, freshman to junior. That's why I just did. I took that and I just did on my own. You know what I'm saying? So that's like they said, like the work ethic thing. Like that was literally just me. You know, I remember those times where. Like I said, it was snowing. There's a picture of me, like I'm literally outside, mask on, beanie on, and it's like 6 inches of snow on the track, and I shoveled like lane one, just
I
things of that
remember.
nature. So I mean, I remember one time too, it was one practice I did on my own. So I said this like February or March, before the outdoor season even started. I remember Coach Cost stopped me in the hallway like the next day was like I seen you out there practicing and stuff like that. So I mean, even though like I'll do my own thing, but it was always still like just Coach Lakatos' philosophy, and I think he's always been a big mentor to me. Like the training, I did there, I kind of incorporated here at Arkansas, stuff like that too. I mean, we've had the season we've had here on our guys in Springs, they had a lot of success. So I mean, all that stuff just it's like a cold coaching tree that trickles down, and I think Coach Akaz really is the blueprint, you know what I'm saying, of Edwardsville. So, and everything like that. So the next thing I do want to mention is like relays. So I mean, I know he mentioned individual. I mean, you got individual state champs and sprints, jumps, throws, of course. But relays, I think you're one of the only few coaches that's coached, not once, but like, multi relay championships. 4x2, you won your first one, 2013. I think they were all underclassmen, right? Sophomores,
Yeah.
juniors.
Yeah.
Here, y'all won the 4x1, 41.4. I remember that team. That team, legends. I think you had Vontae Davis, Renee Perry, Craig James, and Isaiah Michael, I believe, on that team.
Yep.
Yep.
And then 10 years, you got Clayton. I think I've got who else on that relay, but 2024, I think y'all won the state championship and broke the school record, like 41-3. So I mean, you
Yeah.
kind of talk about your love for the relays, and of course, don't forget about Penn relays when we went out there in 2014.
Yeah. I think relays, I love, I think it really brings out the team, all relays. My favorites, I would love to say it's 4x1, but I love 4x4. I love 4x2. But yeah, I think that when you can put together four guys, really shows the depth of your sprints, as far as those short sprints, 4x1, 4x2. Uh, in 2014, we took a group out: Brian Crow, Isaiah Michael, Fontez Davis, Craig James, and then we had an alternate, Renee Perry. But I tell you what, sitting and watching those kids compete 4x1, 4x2 is amazing to be surrounded by so many people that love the sport like I did. And not many people just, the Jamaicans were going crazy every event. And it just was like, man, I wish I could be surrounded by this more. One of the guys on the record board for us, the high jump, Justin Range, he went to Drake. He said Drake relays is unbelievable as well. But it was a great experience. Of course, Dr. Hightower was the lead role in that. He put together some money for us to be able to take kids out there and showcase our kids. And I just, you know, I've always been a big fan of the relays, and always will be.
Yeah, that 20, what was that? I believe 2025, that 41-1. Like, I'm like, dude, that wins state every year. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man. That
Exactly.
was that was
yeah,
what a year.
we had a big lead going into that. Clayton handed off to Zach, and Zach actually, that was the prelim day was the first time he had run since Winston Brown. Like he was struggling through some injury, and he looked good on prelims, but at the finish I could tell something wasn't quite right. So he wasn't exactly healthy, but he did the best he could, and we got runner up to Homewood Flossmoor, and the kid that blew him away didn't even get an opportunity to run this year, Zion, but
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. But
Healthy Zach wouldn't have gotten honked.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, healthy Zach would have definitely held him off, and we'd have gone. We'd have broke 41 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the team. I forgot about that last year. Y'all did run 41-1. I forgot about that. Y'all was sliding,
Yep.
sliding. Yeah. And that's crazy thing too. Like one thing, like I seen like a lot of these Texas schools.
Hmm.
39s, but in Illinois, a lot those times get overlooked and everything like that. I'm always watching Illinois and everything like that. Like it's kind of I think it's kind of like cool and to see like you can take a bunch of 10-5s and 10-6 and 10-7 guys, or maybe
Hmm.
can't break 11. Y'all still manage to run almost 40 point. You know what I'm saying? I think that speaks a lot on coaching. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of these schools out here. They have 3 or 4 10 2 guys. They can go out and run 40 point low 39 high school. So I think it speaks a lot about Coach Carter's coaching. He's able to take guys who can run 10-5, 10-6, maybe one guy 11 high, like 11-1, 11-2, and still manage to run 41 low 40 point. That says a lot. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, the 4x1 was sick. What we had three sub 41s at the state meet this year. We've had more in one state meet than in the previous 100 years of
I know.
IHSA,
crazy.
and two of them from the
Yeah.
same city. I'm like, come on, guys, what is
Yeah.
going on
Right.
here? I'm like,
Crazy.
what is this?
That
Crazy.
Uh,
water in Belleville, man, you got to watch out.
Man, what is going on here? Um, yeah, relays. Hopefully we keep it up. But one thing that's bothering me, that I see it coming down the pipeline. It's the junior year is now the senior year for football guys who run track. I'm just talking to those guys who won. The guy who won the 100, he's not coming back next year. He's leaving early.
I
The
heard that.
Yeah, the Evanston
Really?
Anchors, he's graduating early. The state runner-up in the 2 and the 4, he won't be back next year. He's going to play football. He's leaving in December. So we losing a lot of heat, uh, this whole football NIL type stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's tragic. So the junior year is now the senior year when it comes to track and field. Um, yeah, that's craziness.
That
But
sucks.
coach, from IHSA standpoint, since we talking about state meets and things like that, you've had success at the state level, you and your athletes. But I'll assume everything's not rosy though, when it comes to the IHSA season and the state series setup. Um, what kind of changes do you think changes are needed with this current setup of IHSA, whether it's the state series or the season as a whole?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I don't think coaches should have to pay to get into the state meet, but we'll just
Mm,
we'll just leave it at that. Every
mm,
year, you know what that's like. You get X amount, and that just drives me nuts. But as far as some things that I would like to see, I'd love to see like what some states do as far as double points for relays. I think that
ooh,
would be, you know,
ooh.
I know a couple states do it, and that may change the philosophy and approach of some teams. But I think it also gets away from that one stud doing all open events and being able to trophy. So that's one thing. Another thing I'd like to see is entries to open events going to 3 instead of 2. I think a lot of teams have that depth, have that third guy that unfortunately can't get to compete. I know at the college level, I don't know if they have a max, but I'd love to see that third or fourth guy that's talented in that event get an opportunity. Um, Another thing that I think they should look at is classes. I know they talked about the 3 classes. I'm fine with the 3 classes, but I think the classes should rotate. Like the 1A goes on Thursday, right? The prelims.
Mm. You're,
I think next year, 2A should go first, and then the following year 3A should go, and there should be a rotation to
mhm.
where those teams on the 1A, man, they get that Friday off and can come
Yep.
back. That would really change some things, I think, in our division 3A on some of the approaches that we take. So that's another change that I would love to see. And then the last one is, man, I tell you what, that sectional meet, a lot of puckering up going on at that day. And I'd love to see where you could hit the qualifying mark throughout the season as long as it's a legit meet with, FAT and, it's not some dual meet with handheld times. I think if you
Hmm.
hit that qualifying mark throughout the season, that should get you in as like a, you know, you know, whatever you'd call it. But so those are some of the things that I'd love to see. I think it would get more participation. I think it'd bring in more money for the state, which I know that's what they're all about.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I'll start with that schedule. So a schedule actually got approved back in 25's advisory committee, whereas 1A, 2A competes on Thursday, and then 3A competes at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning Friday.
Ooh,
That's still not ideal, but you get more recovery. And
true.
then we suggested make it a rotation then, because me personally, I've competed in 1A, I've coached in 2 and 3A. Our best athletes need the most rest. That's just my personal opinion. If we had
Sure.
like those 3A teams competing on Thursday with a day off, come on, man. Like we've had guys run 10-3 on 6 hours rest. Like the 3A 4x4 ended at 7:30. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, are we bringing pizza to the track? What are we doing here? Like, it's not many restaurants in Charleston, so that schedule has to be fixed. I agree. Unfortunately, somebody has to get 8 o'clock on Friday. Somebody has to get it. The double relays, I don't know if it was you leading the charge, I believe maybe 10 years ago, or Coach Holler, but I did read that. I liked it then. I don't know if I like it now. Hey, I got a distance coach coming on the next show, and they might say, "Who's this Lakatos talking about double the relay?" We won't have a chance. We won't have a
Yeah.
chance now. But um, I think Texas does that to protect themselves
Texas
against.
does.
Yeah, they don't want Tyreek Hill coming out there winning 4 events. But um, I'm curious. You mentioned 3 classes? Would you have interest in going back to 2 classes?
I mean, I think that I I would be fine with 2 classes. I mean, Indiana only has one. You
Mm,
know, I think, the best is the best, but um, again, I think it comes down to more kids, more entries. It's you would lessen the amount of kids that could qualify. I think if you did that, I'd love to have the conversation and say, let's get 3 qualifiers or 4 or unlimited.
hmm
Why
Unlimited,
max?
sure.
Why make the cut at 2? Um, you know, I think that it's I like this system the way it is now. It makes for, a long Saturday with the 3 different levels, and then you throw in some of those wheelchair races. It just makes for a long day. You
Mhm.
know, I wouldn't be opposed to going back to the 2 class system.
Yeah, I asked the IHSA official. He's like, "Son, we got a better chance of going to 4 classes than going back to 2." I almost threw up. I was like, "No."
Oh,
I was like,
no way.
I was like, it's like, please, no. We'll be there till midnight
For
on a
sure.
Friday. Man, that's craziness. I don't even know if that matters to the kids. Did that matter to you all? Like, I don't. Like, I know for football it's a different story. Like, you'll see the privates getting in the 2A and just dominating, which I personally hate because they all Chicagoland. I coached at a private school for 15 years, but they don't belong in 3A, 4A. It's ridiculous. But that's not the story. I don't know if the athletes really care about. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all a little bit newer school than I am.
I really didn't
Uh,
care. I've been watching the state meet since I was little, so I've always seen 3 classes. I mean, I think it'd be cool to have 1 or 2 because like then it'd be really you're a state champion. Like you'd really be the fastest in the state because
hmm
sometimes a 1A kid will be faster than you, but you're still a state champion and you win.
Yeah,
But I feel like it'd be interesting, but I didn't think about it much when I was running,
just run.
pretty much.
I mean, I
I,
just feel like Rogers of matchup. Like that 1A kid going 20.9. I'm like, come on, cut it out.
Yeah,
I'm
it does
like,
rob
cut
of
Crazy.
it
some
out,
matchups, I
dude.
think, for sure.
I'm like, cut it out. Cut it out. That's why we invite Edwardsville up north in the wintertime. I know it's a 5 hour track, but come on, we got y'all got to touch the bank for us one time now.
We're hey that
Come on now, come
we'll
on,
talk
Brandon.
later.
I
We
know you
we've been
told him
talking.
21, Brandon. Come on, you came
We've
up
been
every
talking
week.
about it.
You
You
came
may
up
see
every
us this
week.
up and coming year.
I told Desiree, when you go back, let Chan know that the bank is nice. We got tacos next year too. Come on now,
Uh-oh.
we got
Uh-oh.
tacos.
My favorite.
Yeah. Let's hit some of these rapid fire questions before we get up out of here. Let's see if we can. What's that? A fingerprint? What you doing?
What is
Oh,
it?
okay. Oh,
For
rapid
me,
fire. Yes, rapid fire questions. These will be some quick answer questions. Let's see what you got for us.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go,
kick it
V.
off. So, Coach Lakatos, if you could take a college job right now, what one would you take?
Well, being a college coach is not on my playlist, but if I could or would, I'd say I'd have to join you at Arkansas. I tell you what,
Oh,
I
come
spent a lot of
on.
time there when Eric was being recruited, And at the time, the facilities weren't near what they are now. But I think that to be surrounded by the history that Arkansas carries, that would definitely be an ultimate job for me to coach at the next level.
Come on. That's a home run answer right there.
Mhm. If
Uh,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, go ahead, Clay.
what's
I'll
Clay
ask.
doing with his finger? You blocking the
What's
camera?
up?
You blocking the camera with your finger? Come on now.
Yeah.
We know what you look like.
I was gonna ask what state championship ring is your favorite?
Mm, man, that's a tough one. Uh, in 2007 was the first one, so that's pretty special. Um, Geez, 2024 was special because it was with you. Um, 2015, man, I tell you what, that's a tough one,
A
Clayton.
tough one. It is.
Yeah. Sorry to my boys in the past, but winning it with my son was probably the most special. So 2024.
Good answer.
If you could take one thing from track and field in this era, 2026, back to your high school competition days, what would you take?
uh, just the training philosophy. Like, it was, I didn't like track at all. The 10 by 400s were no joke. Um, it's that would probably be the biggest thing, just what we know now, social media, just crazy. I mean, you could get lost on how to things to do. Just but you gotta stay in your path. So I'd say that'd be the number one thing for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What state record would you want to keep forever?
What state record would I want to keep forever? Well, uh we don't currently have any state records, but we had pole vault for a long time. Darren McDonough was a pole vault 17-3, 1992, held it forever. And of course, Travis, uh, and then AJ. I guess AJ still got does anybody
Yes.
break?
No, he still has the discus.
Yeah, he still has it. It's not an event I coach, but man, got to hold on to that one for sure.
Hmm.
Um, you know, if we had the 4x1 record, I'd love to keep that forever. I mean, that just is a true
Hmm.
testament to what I coach. And so that would probably be, if I had it, I'd want to keep that forever.
Yep. Sprint
Uh,
coaches love that 4x1. Just like the distance, love that 4x. They love it.
who would you
Yep.
say is Edwardsville's rival, our biggest rival?
Ooh, ooh.
Uh, well,
We talking track and field? We talking football? What are we talking here? Let's do
Track.
track and field. Track and
Do
field.
track and football. Do both.
Ooh, ooh.
well, football's easy. I think our biggest is East Side.
Yeah.
Um, we pretty much dominate everybody else. I know there for a while, O'Fallon and us were head to head, but East Side's always the biggest game of the year, football wise. Our biggest rival, man, I feel like that's kind of a roller coaster. I mean, there's Belleville West and Belleville East are coming on strong. I think that when um, Pat Seagraves at Belleville West, that was a friendly rival. I know that the coaches there now are doing a great job, and the speed is just crazy. So I'd have to say, I mean, our conference schools, like if there was a number one team, I felt like Belleville West was going to do more at conference, and they didn't. So I'd have to say, the Belleville schools, Belleville East, Belleville West. I mean, if there's one between the two, um, I'd probably pick Belleville West.
What about you guys? Who's y'all track rival? During your time, talk to us now. It's over with now. You can speak on it.
Man, I'm not gonna be blunt, man. Mine was East Side, East St. Louis, because they had some dogs, man. Willie Johnson to another guy on the 400. he was a dog. Like they had a bunch of dogs in the relay, 4x1, 4x2, 4x4. I mean, and then I had that gap year of COVID in 2021. Me and Devontae Ford, that's my homie to this day. We went at it,
Mm,
especially at conference. We went at it. You know what I'm saying? He ran the 200 after 300. He said, "I'm gonna get you." I said, "Nah, you ain't gonna get me, bro." Like I was really just chilling on him. But even the 4x1s, like the relays, it'll go crazy. Even though like team wise, I knew we could do it, but like when it came to individual and like them sprints, oh yeah, it had been East Side. Like they was always neck and neck with us. So
hmm
yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of complicated because they helped us win. They helped us win that 2024 title or tie with Oak Park. But I would say Belleville West. They were in the 4x4, and it was Gray's Lake, I think. If they won,
hmm
we wouldn't have won. They would have won state, and so we were rooting for Belleville West, which is weird because all year I feel like it was us and them. Like at conference, we have a long conference of winning conference like every year, and I feel like they're the biggest threat to do it, to beat us. And it always my in my freshman and sophomore year, it always pissed me off when they would only win the 4x4 and they would make it like they won the whole meet. That always made me mad. But then they got good at everything else, and I
Mm.
think challenged us the most.
Man, they 4x4 loaded, them boys right there.
Always, always.
Hey, man. Hey, you're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. You're not supposed to say you're rooting for your rival.
I did. I had to. I
You
had
should
to
We
lead
root
all
the
for. We
were.
boost
were
on
we
this
were
one.
cheering on Troy. I was cool. We were cool with Troy. Our
They
whole team
not
was cool
supposed to
with
know
Troy,
it.
but we were rooting for him.
Yeah. Coach, you can co-op with any school in the state for any reason. Your choice. What school you picking?
Homewood Flossmoor.
Ooh, you can't do that. That's class 10A. You can't do that. Oh. Why would you want to deal with that putting together a 4x1 or a 4x2 with all that talent for both teams?
You know, I
That would
just
be a mess. Ooh-wee.
I would love to. So I'd only do it if I could merge with their staff. I think that
Oh, yeah, they
next to
awesome.
ours, I think their staff is high quality and their kid first and their facilities are second to none. And I just think they got things heading in the right direction and doing things the right way. So that would be the one school. I think they're would be a great compliment to for us.
Yeah, you all would not be allowed to compete in IHSA. Go run against IMG or Team Canada or something like y'all
There
can't.
you
Yeah,
go.
that's a loaded team right there.
Yeah.
That'd be scary.
Our next question: who plays you in a biopic?
A biopic. Okay. I'd have to say Matthew McConaughey.
I knew he was gonna
Mm.
say that. I thought in my head. I knew he was gonna say that.
Oh,
Really?
why is that? What you got?
Well, dude, he just first of all, he's one of my favorite actors. He's got big. He's a big sports guy, big Texas fan. Just so smooth, inspirational. Got a lot of passion. I read his book Green Lights, just about his life, a collection of stories and life lessons and philosophies. And I'm just like, man, this guy's pretty cool. So a biopic definitely had to be all right, all right, all right.
Oh yeah.
Hey Clayton, you got a Coach Dad impression for us? I know you got something for us.
Finish, finish. It was a running joke. He every time he won't say finish normally. Finish, and then at practice he'd be directing traffic, telling the people where to go. He'd go like this. He'd like, you guys go over here and you over there. He's pointing super aggressively.
That's
Those are always
funny.
running jokes.
uh,
It's funny. I got a question. So I asked Coach Bailey this about Malik if he won back to back instead of getting. I think he tattoos him on his arm or shoulder, something like that. I asked him, "Hey, if he goes back to back, will you get the tattoo on your back?" He said, "No, scary." So my question is, if Edwardsville wins back to back titles, would you get the state trophies tattooed on your back?
oof. I don't have a tattoo,
This could be your
so
first two.
that would
Your
be
first two.
that would be tough. I've always, thought if I get a tattoo, what would look good? If I did, it'd have to be the old style trophy, though.
Yes, man, please go back to those. I hate those NCAA trophies. Sorry, Brandon. I know y'all just won the national championship, but those trophies got to go, man. Like, could we get some creativity around here or something? Good grief. Good grief.
Awesome. Now I got a little tough question for you. So it's gonna make you think a little bit. Eliminating Herrin and EHS. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of track and field in Illinois history?
Mm. Mount Rushmore. Well, excluding Herrin, which I probably would have at least one, and Edwardsville, I'd have at least two, maybe three to make up all four. But
Dude, it's more than that. Shoot.
well, I'd have to narrow it down. So I'm gonna go way back. I competed against this guy when I was in high school at Harrisburg. I remember we ran a dual meet and it was freezing cold, and Coach Holler wanted us all to get down to our uniform, tank top and shorts. This guy next to me left his sweats on, including the hoodie, and it was pulled so tight I could barely see his face. He was a legend, late 80s. LaBeach Grace from Caro
Oh, a beast.
I think he was perfect at state. I feel
Oh,
like
it's a beast.
sophomore, junior, senior year, he won the 1-2, 4x1, 4x2. He did it all 3 years. So that would be definitely my first one. I competed against him. The next
beast.
one, he was bad when he held the state record for forever.
He still got it. The 100
Yeah.
meters. He's
Okay.
10:46, 10:47. He still got it. Little
There
beach
you go.
waves. Yeah, he's a
Cool.
beast.
Let's see. Next one, it was when I was coaching. Let's see, where was I? I think I was at Herrin still, and got to sit in the stands and just see him compete against Harrisburg when they were dominant. It's Ryan Shields from Chicago Leo. He was
Beast.
something special. So smooth, just a great track body. So he'd be my number two. Number three would be Plainfield Kid, Triple Crown like you, Brandon. Kamari Montgomery, Plainfield Central, I believe.
He dropping all the 46-second guys.
So these are all sprint guys in my mind.
It's your Mount Rushmore. It's yours.
I can't think outside that box. And then my last one was our Tony Holler's boy, Marcellus Moore from Plainfield North.
He's not a 46 guy, but hey, he's a 10-3 guy. That's good too.
He was fun to watch.
My man, that dude was a beast. I'm glad he got to travel too. Like I said, those teams went all over the state. I believe it was Belleville where everybody lined the sideline for the 100. I'm like, nah, that's how you know you got something. That's a
sure.
star right there. That dude's a beast. Yeah. Sorry you couldn't use Edwardsville and Herrin, but I know it's a lot of them. I don't. Did you coach Zach Riley?
So Zach was a sophomore. I coached him as a sophomore, and he went. I think he PR'd that year like 6 foot.
Yeah.
And then, so did not coach him as a junior and senior. But him and Eric, fun fact, him and Eric Thompson lived on the same street in Herrin.
Sick.
Just like 5 houses from one another.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is sick. That dude was a beast. I believe I just found out recently your team was at the PN track invite my first year coaching as an assistant in 2009, 2010, whatever. I didn't know you was there. I did see Zach Riley. I said, this dude just went 6'8" in some gym shoes or something on a slippery floor. I'm like, who is this dude? And where's Herrin? I swear I went home and Googled Herrin. Never heard of it. I'm like, what? But that's crazy. That's why it's important, guys, to travel to state. You see all these athletes.
For sure.
Like I said, Brandon Battle, when it came to Chicago, we were like, who the hell is that guy? We had the girl from Alton come up this year to Gately, set the facility on fire. She's signing all everybody like, who is that and where is Alton? I'm like, guys, like it's life outside of Chicago. That's why it's like, man, we got to get these stars up on the big stage. I consider Gately's the mecca, the big stage. We'll pack that place 10,000 strong. Stop playing with us, Coach Lakatos. Stop playing with us. But man, she put on a show and the little kids taking autographs was crazy. So we'll get you out. Actually, I do want to mention your state races are on IHSA archives. So you can catch Coach Lakatos, Clayton, and you can scout and get some tips. You can get that.
Oh, we've watched him. Me and Cruz have checked him out before.
Stop hating. You wish you could run a 48. Stop playing with us.
I wish.
He
Never
just
have.
he
Never
just he
have.
just wanted that. He just wished he could grow that mullet like I had back in the day.
Right. A mullet.
Facts.
Man, trackflation, huh? Only if they had those spikes. Like any record that's still alive at this point is crazy, given just how fast kids are these days, and technology is ridiculous. So, but we get you out here on this, Coach. We've mentioned your success, 5 team titles, many state champions, state record holders come from your program. Uh, we mentioned you likely on the fast track or in the Hall of Fame in the next few years. There's one of your relay crews. I'm not sure what year that is.
2024.
Yep, that's the crew. Darren, that's my guy. Um, yeah, we mentioned all that. There's your most recent team title is right here, 2025, I believe. Is that right? Or is it 24?
20,
Excuse me. That
2024.
that's a 24 year. That's the
Yeah,
crew right there.
that's when we tied.
Yep.
Yep.
With Oak Park. That was a fun meet too. Good grief. Um, so at some point, again, I'm not trying to rush you out of the coaching game. I'm sure the Edwardsville crew isn't either, but at some point, your coaching career may come to an end. So once you put up the whistle and hang up the stopwatch, in the eyes of you, Chad Lakatos, what would success have looked like once you end this coaching career of yours?
Yeah, I feel like I've been blessed, with a great staff and great athletes over the 23 years as being a head coach. Checking the boxes with trophies and state champions and so forth and so on. I think the biggest thing at the end is just the relationships built, the lessons learned throughout it all, and then just there's the lives that are changed, and that'll be the most important part of the measure of success for me. Just hopefully that I can stay connected with some of these guys, like having Brandon on here was super special. Thanks for jumping on, Brandon. I know you're out on the East Coast, and Coach P, thanks for getting him and Clayton on. And that's what it's all about. I just want to see our kids that we invest time in as coaches just be successful, and hopefully they can carry on something that we taught them over the years. That would be great for me to hold on to, and the legacy that I can remember when it comes to an end.
And there it is. There you have it, folks. That's Chad Lakatos. It's Between the Lanes.
Appreciate you.